Just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him.
Kate Moss was one of the most recognizable supermodels in the mid-90s to mid-2000s. She championed the waifish, ultra-thin modeling trends that we still see reflections of to this day. She and Johnny Depp dated for a few years back in the 90s, and it was an infamously messy relationship that ended sourly. In interviews after the breakup, Kate claimed that she missed Depp because he was the proper influence that she needed at the time. Despite what seemed like an amicable breakup, Amber Heard has raised Kate's name in the latest drama over her and Johnny's highly publicized defamation trial. She claims that he was harmful towards the model. But is it true, or just another lie Amber seems increasingly at ease with spouting? Kate Moss was born in London, England to a bartending mother and an airline employee father. She has a younger brother and a half-sister. Kate began her modeling career very early into her teens when she was recruited in 1988 at the age of 14. A modeling scout came up to her in an airport in New York while she was on her way home from vacation in the Bahamas with her family. By 16 years old, she had shot for a few magazines who described her style as dirty realism or grunge. She then was featured in her first major label's campaign, for Levi's. It propelled Kate into becoming what was labeled as the quote anti-supermodel of the 1990s, which starkly contrasted to the models of the moment, such as Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell, who were known for being extremely tall with noticeable hips. Moss was the poster child for the waifish, ultra-thin, with very little curves look that was popularized in the mid-1990s. It led to a lot of scrutiny over her weight, which people deemed to be excessively thin, basically impossible to obtain if your genetics don't gear that way. But for Moss, she stated, quote, "It was just the time. It was a swing from the more buxom girls like Cindy Crawford, and people were shocked to see what they called a waif. How many times can I say I'm not anorexic?" To that point, however, Kate was heavily criticized when she interviewed for Women's Wear Daily in 2009 and was quoted saying the phrase "nothing tastes as good as skinny feels," which she described as her motto to keep her strong in food intake control. She was accused of encouraging eating disorders, which were already running extremely rampant due to the fashion at the time, which pretty much solely catered to extremely stick-thin women. That being said, Kate's popularity was undoubtable. She was named the sexiest woman of the decade numerous times by different magazines. She has gold statues dedicated to her, and she has multiple high-profile artists' muse. There are tons of songs dedicated to her, about her, or that mention her. As far as her relationship with Johnny Depp goes, however, they began dating in 1994 when they met at a bar in New York and were introduced to each other by a journalist. When they first met, Johnny was 31 and Kate was 20. He had just split from Winona Ryder. Kate and Johnny would become the it couple of the 90s, jetting around the world together and always being spotted at events. They absolutely were not camera shy and loved public displays of affection. In 1994, a friend of the actor told People magazine, quote, "They can't keep their hands, lips, mouths, and legs off of each other." However, it wasn't all smooth sailing for the couple. They were spotted a few times having extremely heated arguments with one another out in public, and then Depp was arrested after he and Moss trashed a hotel in New York. He had to pay out thousands of dollars in damages that he owed to the hotel. Now, in 2022, after Amber and Johnny's explosive relationship ended in divorce, and Johnny first sued The Sun in England for defamation, Amber dragged Kate Moss into the fight. In the 2020 UK libel trial, Amber claimed that Johnny Depp had pushed Kate Moss down a flight of stairs after a fight in the 1990s. This claim kind of came out of nowhere and wasn't fully pursued by the court at the time, as it didn't have much to do with The Sun and their role in the libel. But in 2022, now that Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard directly for defamation of character that led to his loss of a leading man status in Hollywood and thus a loss of revenue, Amber has been made to recount the more brutal and instrumental fights in their relationship. This also means rehashing past accusations she made against her ex. Amber recounted a moment when she and Johnny had a particularly nasty fight in front of her sister. Amber said that she threw a can of Red Bull at Johnny, which struck him in the back, adding that she called him some vulgar words. She said that he then became enraged and followed her up a staircase. Amber said he grabbed her, at which point her sister Whitney intervened. Quote, "She threw herself in the line of fire. She was trying to get Johnny to stop. Her back was to the staircase, and Johnny swung at her. I didn't hesitate and wait. I instantly thought of Kate Moss and stairs." She said that the thought of Kate Moss led her to action. Quote, I, for the first time, hit him square in the face. And he didn't push my sister down the stairs. Up to that point in our relationship, I hadn't even landed one on Johnny. Johnny looked stunned and then laughed at me, and then lunges at me again. Then she recalls that security staff stepped in between them and separated them, diffusing the situation. Now, going back temporarily to the 2020 Sun trial, Amber stated, quote, he pushed Kate Moss down the stairs. I heard this from two people and this was fresh in my mind. I reacted in defense of my sister. I had for years been Johnny's punching bag, but for years I never hit him. It was the first time after all these years that I struck him back. Although a representative for Kate Moss has yet to speak out on being named by Amber as a source of past harm from Johnny, I absolutely would not be surprised if that means that Kate may be called to testify her story in front of the court. Yet, as is the same with Elon Musk and James Franco, she doesn't actually have to come and testify. In Virginia, if the case isn't directly related to you, you cannot be forced to testify and can reject the request. But if we go back to that volatile night at the hotel, police stated that they found Johnny, quote, in a state of possible intoxication and Moss uninjured. A criminal court judge dismissed the charge of criminal mischief against Depp on the condition that he stay out of trouble for 6 months. He then paid the hotel $10,000, including more than $2,000, plus the bill of the remainder of his reservation. In a 2012 interview with Vanity Fair about her past relationships, Kate said that she cried for years after their relationship ended. Quote, there's nobody that ever really has been able to take care of me. Johnny did for a bit. I believe what he said. Like if I said, what do I do? He'd tell me. And that's what I missed when I left. I really lost the gauge of somebody I could trust. Interestingly, when Amber Heard mentioned Kate Moss by name, Johnny Depp's lawyers seemed to celebrate in court. The reason why his lawyers seem so elated will become clear when his team is finally allowed to cross-examine Amber Heard next week, but it is likely that they probably have evidence to refute this claim and label it as bogus. Quote, when a lawyer gets excited about something you said and they have yet to cross-examine you, you should be scared, is what one commentator said on the live feed. Interestingly, because Kate has only ever spoken highly about Johnny Depp since their relationship ended, Amber stating that he would have hurt her means that she opened the door so that they can present evidence to show that Johnny never hurt Kate. If she made the claim about Vanessa Paradis, Johnny's ex-wife of 11 years, then they would have even more fuel to the fire. Basically, by voicing things that are just rumors, now the claims can be proven or disproven by the court. I guess we'll see in the time to come just how deep Kate's role in the trial will be.
You know, in America, you ask if somebody's feeling good and they never tell you the truth.
No.
You just said just about good.
Yeah, pretty much.
No one ever just says I'm.
Paul Bettany used to be most known for his role in the Marvel movie franchise as the voice of Jarvis and portraying the character of Vision. But these days, he's in the news for a very different reason. As the media continues to froth at the mouth over the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp defamation trial, Paul has been dragged in for his role in supporting Johnny while he was in the relationship. Both Paul and Johnny made alarmingly aggressive text exchanges about Amber and her body. And so now, as the trial forges on, we see just how toxic Paul's role to play in the doomed relationship is. Paul Bettany was born into theater with both of his parents stage actors and a manager. Tragically, when Paul was 16 years old, his 8-year-old brother would pass from an accidental fall. The death was so impactful on Paul that he dropped out of high school and left home, traveling to London to be a street performer. He lived in a small flat and earned money by playing guitar in the streets as a busker. After spending some time working for an elderly home, he decided to enroll in the Drama Center of London. Paul became instantly known for his talent, appearing in plays like Romeo and Juliet, Richard III, and a BBC production of Oliver Twist, all by 21 years old. He then slowly started to drip into film and television, working small parts in film while still maintaining his presence in theater. Then, a Hollywood director saw Paul's audition tape and was so impressed with it that he wrote a character into the movie A Knight's Tale as Chaucer. From then on, the director was so impressed that he showed his friends the audition tape, including Ron Howard, who promptly cast Bettany in A Beautiful Mind alongside Russell Crowe. From then on, he would go on to be in the Wimbledon movie and a few other notable films. He also married Jennifer Connelly and appeared alongside Johnny Depp in the movie The Tourist. Most notably, he played Jarvis in Vision and Iron Man and later on in the Avengers movies. Jumping back though to The Tourist, Paul became very close with his co-star Johnny Depp and they considered each other to be best friends. Now, fast forward to now, Paul Bettany was involved in the defamation trial of Johnny Depp versus The Sun, but he is much more direct directly involved in the current trial going on with Johnny Depp against Amber Heard. Due to his closeness to Johnny, it's only natural that he would be front and center to some of the uglier instances of the ex-couple's extremely toxic relationship. Due to the court proceedings being broadcast live for the whole world to see, we can get extremely up-to-date information on the trial itself. We learn that Johnny Depp claims that Amber Heard absolutely loathed Paul Bettany. Apparently, she felt threatened by the large amount of time that Paul and Johnny spent together. Quote, Miss Heard despised Mr. Bettany, mainly because we had become such close friends, and for her, he was a threat and would take me away from her. With regard to if Paul Bettany was getting the attention from me, that was a showstopper. It would cause all kinds of unpleasantries. He even recalled one instance with Paul, his wife Jennifer Connelly, and their kids. Depp says that Heard and Bettany got into a debate over lunch and, quote, whenever Mr. Bettany tried to make a point, she would talk over him, and then it just started to get quite rude. She got mean and she got loud. He also recalled that during this debate, Paul's 18-year-old son entered the conversation to speak on something that he had learned while in school. Quote, he voiced his opinion and Miss Heard demeaned the young man to the point of where he burst into tears and walked away. Johnny also said that he told Amber that her behavior was unacceptable and that she had no right. Quote, you cannot always be right. You should try to be wrong sometime because you might learn something. These comments came after private text messages between Johnny Depp and Paul Bettany were read aloud to the court and audio recordings were heard wherein Depp called Heard fat and plenty of other obscenities I can't say. Paul's name was initially brought up when Johnny claimed that they often would do recreational substances together at times. Their texts also became evidence, including one in which they joked about drowning and burning Amber. Although, as a rebuttal, Johnny did say that it was a Monty Python reference that should not be taken literally. That being said, Paul did state that he felt extremely embarrassed to have his texts read aloud to the court during the Sun defamation trial. He also made a slightly contradictory statement to what we know to be true when he stated that he didn't know Johnny when he was married to Amber. Quote, I knew him before, but we hadn't spoken for years. During the marriage, I didn't know them, so I wasn't around for any of that. We live in a world without context. Despite this statement, it has also been said on multiple records that they consider each other best friends. And also, why would you talk about a woman you don't know like he did during the text? And also, what about the incident at the dinner with Paul's son? That statement honestly doesn't make much sense to me, but I couldn't find any information on whether or not he had been called out for it. Now, for her part, Amber has yet to testify, but will do so soon. Johnny said his piece, but will definitely be called to the stand a bunch more while the trial is still ongoing. On Tuesday, we heard from officers who responded to a domestic disturbance call to the couple's penthouse in 2016. They said that they found no evidence of a crime and that Amber was uncooperative and refused to sign or file a police report. The court also heard from the manager of Depp's Bahamas Island and a forensic psychologist who assessed his ex-wife. The manager recounted an incident in which she separated the couple during an argument in which Amber allegedly threw a can at Johnny. Dr. Shannon Curry, a psychologist, testified that she had diagnosed Amber with both borderline and histrionic personality disorders after an extensive evaluation, and manifestations of these can include desperate attempts to avoid being abandoned, including reporting to legal methods such as claiming harm from her partner. That being said, it also emerged that Dr. Curry is not board certified, so it is likely that the diagnosis will prove void. We'll probably see Paul Bettany himself testify alongside other famous individuals like Elon Musk and James Franco, who both have been accused of sleeping with Amber while she was in a relationship with Depp. If it is proved that she did cheat on him, likely the trial could start to sway in Johnny's favor. As it stands, despite the court seemingly always being in favor of Amber, the public is very heavily on the side of Johnny. A lot of people accuse Amber of being a sociopath and an evil person. I can't really pass judgment and I refuse to do so until the trial is over, but it really does seem like this may be the final battle between the couple. Although this is a defamation case and not a physical harm case, every point is seeming to be heard, so I can't imagine anything being upheld in court beyond this case. Once this one is done, it is almost certain that the whole debacle will finally be over, whether it sways in Depp's favor or Amber Heard's. With so much contradictory evidence to go through, it seems like this trial is far from over though, and as Paul is set to eventually take the stand, only time will tell what he further reveals about the time he spent with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Room for improvement.
Well, Elon Musk has been in the news lately for more ways than one. While we've already done a video on this man, it's definitely worth revisiting just to see the insanity that he's gotten up to lately. On top of being involved in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp defamation case that's currently blowing up in the media sphere, he also very recently bought Twitter and plans to privatize it. He bought the social media platform outright with cash for $44 billion. His main goal? To make the app more closely adhere to free speech with less censorship. censorship. Elon Musk was born in South Africa to an extremely wealthy family. Elon's brother is quoted as saying that they had so much money they couldn't shut the safe properly. After his parents divorced when Elon was a child, he decided to stay with his father in South Africa, a choice that he would regret as he is completely estranged from the man currently whom he describes as, quote, a terrible human being. Elon had an interest in computing and design since he was a child. He moved to Canada because he knew it would be easier to enter the US from there than from South Africa. Using his Canadian-born mother as an entryway, Musk obtained full citizenship and lived with his cousin in Saskatchewan, working odd jobs in a lumber mill. Musk then enrolled at Queen's University in Ontario before transferring to University of Pennsylvania 2 years into his degree. After he graduated, Musk and a few friends founded their first company, Zip2. Before the company was successful, Musk couldn't afford an apartment and instead decided to rent an office and sleep on the couch, showering at the local YMCA. The eventual sale of the company made Musk an overnight millionaire when he received $22 million for his only 7% share. In 1999, Musk founded X.com, which merged with PayPal. The company, now just called PayPal, became so successful that it was sold to eBay in 2002 for $1.5 billion in stock, with Elon receiving $100 million from the deal. In 2001, Musk became interested in space travel and space farming. When he found out how expensive intercontinental ballistic missiles were, which would be used to send plants to space, Elon decided to make his own company, now called SpaceX, that would create affordable rockets. To this day, Musk is the company's CEO and chief engineer. The entrepreneur also pivoted to heavily investing in a small company called Tesla that created electric vehicles out of lithium-ion batteries. He became the majority shareholder of the company and resided on the board of directors as chairman. In 2016, the creation of the Boring Company by Musk built underground tunnels through Las Vegas that would work to help alleviate traffic. Outside of his mega successful companies, Elon Musk got into some hot water, with his employees criticizing his managerial style. One person who worked closely with Musk says he exhibits, quote, a high level of degenerative behavior. Business Insider also reported that Tesla employees were warned not to pass Musk's desk for fear of his wild rampages. There are also multiple reports of Musk berating his employees and forcing them to work an insane amount of hours to keep up with the demands that he places on them. Fast forward to 2018, Elon Musk arranges for his employees to build a small rescue pod to assist children that were stuck in a flooded cavern in Thailand. It was during the construction of this rescue pod that Elon would realize the kind of power his tweets would have. The pod was built a little too late, and the Thai authorities didn't even end up using the submarine. A British diver who was instrumental in the effort to save the kids criticized the submarine to CNN, saying, quote, Musk has no context of what the cave passage was like, and he can stick his submarine where it hurts. In response to these words, for some reason, Elon Musk thought it was a good idea to post a tweet referring to the diver as a, quote, guy. Despite deleting the tweet, the diver decided to sue Musk for libel, which basically means saying stuff that isn't true and could damage someone's reputation. Elon then hired a public investigator to find dirt on the diver and sent an explosive email to a BuzzFeed news reporter with the subject line off the record, accusing the reporter of being apologetic towards a man who was accused of having a The reporter screenshotted the email and tweeted it out, stating that, quote, off the record is a two-party agreement which I do not agree to. Despite the rather dubious journalism ethics being used here, the published email led the diver to take Elon to court, but the jury found in favor of Musk when he was ruled not liable. The entrepreneur's tweets once again got him into trouble when he posted about Tesla possibly becoming a privatized company. The tweet was labeled as untrue and the lawsuit was filed due to the damage it caused investors. The lawsuit was settled, with Musk being barred from the Tesla chairman position 3 years and having to pay $20 million from his personal money and $20 million from the Tesla company. Elon Musk has also accidentally tanked his own company by tweeting that he thought the Tesla stock prices were too high. This triggered a tanking in the shares of Tesla stock, move that got him into a lot of trouble with his own company. As for his personal life, Elon has had quite a few partners over the years. He dated electropop singer Grimes, with whom he shares 2 children. That being said, they broke it off pretty much right after Elon posted some pretty transphobic tweets and Grimes expressed frustration. That being said, officially they broke it off because Elon was too busy and work scheduling took a toll on their relationship. I'm sure it was a mixture of both, honestly. In a lot of people's view though, Elon's initial tweet may have been attacking Grimes specifically for their views on non-gendered lifestyles. This isn't the first time Elon Musk has been outed as being aggressive in relationships. In a Marie Claire article, Elon's first wife, Justine, describes living in an extremely strict marital environment where, quote, Elon's judgment overruled mine, and he was constantly remarking on the ways he found me lacking. Please honestly go read the article for yourself. It's extremely eloquent and eye-opening. And now, Elon Musk is once again in the news. this time for buying Twitter itself. Given just how much of a history he has with the platform and how it's affected his business, it seems like the billionaire is taking matters into his own hands and outright buying the platform for $44 billion of his own money in the hopes of opening the floodgates and allowing for full free speech. That being said, free speech is very different from hate speech, and I worry that sometimes Musk may not know the difference, instead referring to his own personal opinions to police the site. But because he's got so many companies, I already doubt extremely highly that he will have any hand in the way the website conducts itself. He tweets a lot, so if the world's richest man feels like the website he primarily uses isn't up to snuff, then I guess you really can just buy it for personal use. Pretty crazy. On top of that, Elon was set to defend none other than Amber Heard during her defamation trial with her ex-husband Johnny Depp. Elon and Amber had dated for a while, and Johnny had accused the pair of cheating with each other while she was still in the relationship, and they dated very shortly after Amber and Johnny officially broke it off. That being said, while in the beginning of the trial Musk had been on the list of witnesses that Depp's lawyer created, for some reason, as of the 28th of April, he is no longer set to testify. A source of Musk's legal team later confirmed that he will not testify, although they didn't give any reason as to why he suddenly changed his mind, or if the judge deemed his contribution not worthy of public record. Also, just a side note, I know my rants, whatever, Elon Musk does not pay any money in personal taxes, yet he decided to buy Twitter. He claimed in a tweet that he doesn't pay personal taxes because all of his money is actually caught up in Tesla stock, so he doesn't have any liquid funds. Yet he just bought Twitter for $44 billion in cash, so obviously that's not true. Just a heads up that billionaires are not your friends, and if he did pay personal taxes on his massive fortune, that money could have been used to fund repairing roads, opening schools, and aiding the government in funding social programs for underhelped members of society.